Hello ladies and gentlemen, Reginald Scott here. I thought I would show you some of the items that I take with me when I commute to work for your delectation, pleasure and entertainment. But also, if you are someone who's considering commuting to work on a bike, you might not know what you need to take with you or what might be useful for you when you're on your journey to work. So I'm going to show you the kind of items that I like to take, and if you can think of any other items that might be useful, please feel free to put them in the comments below. So, first off, kind of essential, telephone. Most people now always have a phone with them, but it's always a good idea to carry a phone in case, obviously, you're going to be late or something bad happens and you need to call the emergency services or whatever. So phones are always useful, don't forget your phone. When it comes to bike maintenance, a pretty much essential piece of kit is a puncture repair kit like this one, which contains tyre levers, patches, chalk, a little crayon for marking the punctures, glue, and this one also contained a little spanner which I got rid of, and I'll show you why I got rid of that in a moment. I've also stuck a set of rubber gloves in here, or latex gloves, which I find come in useful for keeping my hands clean when I'm doing bike repairs or I'm changing tyres and things like that at the side of the road. And that's something I learned from many years of getting mucky and then having to ride home with dirty hands, which is not always very convenient. Along with that, you kind of need to consider taking a bike pump, so you can pump the tyres up afterwards, pretty much essential. Pumps come in all shapes and sizes. This one is a little micro pump, but you can also get CO2 pumps and pumps that have little sachets of liquids that they pour inside your tyres to plug holes up and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But I think a basic pump is probably the most useful item that you should have with you as a cyclist. So I never leave home without that. On top of that, I also nowadays carry one of these. It's a little wet wipe or a hand wipe, and it's useful for things like first aid, if I got gravel rash or something. And it's also useful, when you're doing bike maintenance again at the side of the road. You never know when you're going to get grubby and maybe you don't have time to get a wash before you end up at work and you don't want to turn up in front of your boss with dirty hands or something. So again, I carry one of those with me inside my cycling bag. Along with that, I also have a multi-tool, which I usually carry with me. This one comes in this little plastic case. This is a cheap one from Decathlon. It's pretty heavy, to be honest with you, but it does have a really great range of little items on it, little tools, spanners and Allen keys and all sorts of great stuff like that. This one I particularly like because it comes in two halves. Let's see if we can separate it. There we go. And all the tools lock into position when you open them. And this one also comes with a knife, which I find really useful. I know the UK government's a bit dubious about people carrying knives, but I must admit I use this more than I use all the other tools on here. It's surprising how useful a knife actually is for scraping things, cleaning things, chopping things off, all sorts of stuff like that. So yeah, if you can get a multi-tool with a knife, I'd recommend it because it's surprising how often it's been useful for me. So that just clips on there, and then in the back of the multi-tool I have stuck some string. The reason for that is you never know when you're going to need some string. String always comes in useful for lashing things down, say if you've got a large item to carry home with you that you weren't expecting that you're going to have to carry, or perhaps something breaks on your bike and you just want to make a running repair so you can get to the bike shop or to get home. I found string comes in really useful, so why not consider taking like a length of string with you. Doesn't weigh much, doesn't take up much room. I'm carrying the multi-tool anyway, so for me it's an essential piece of kit that I never leave home without. The marvels of string. Why not also consider taking a pen with you if you're on your commute to work, especially if you live somewhere like London. You never know, you might bump into somebody famous and want their autograph. You can take notes with it, write things down obviously. There are 101 uses for a trusty pen, so I've found in the past that I'd rather have one than be left without one. You never know when your phone's going to be flat and you need to take a note or something. What else have we got here? When winter comes along, at the moment we're heading into summer, so hopefully the weather's going to get better, I also carry waterproof kit. So I'll start off with these, which are a set of overshoes. These fit over my cycling shoes and prevent them from getting wet when it's raining. I would recommend that when you buy these, try and get ones that are welded together like this, that have got the two seams of the material welded. The first overshoes I ever bought were thick, heavy-duty neoprene, but they were stitched together with a piece of cloth-like material, and unfortunately the way that they were bonded together wasn't very good, and they leaked. So I always used to end up with wet feet, and now I've got these, and these are much better and they don't leak. So yeah, that's just a bit of advice if you are thinking of buying some overshoes. Also, I've got some over trousers. Again, pretty self-explanatory really. These ones have got some nice reflective strips on for when the weather turns nasty. So you might want to consider investing in those. These ones are dirty and have got scuff marks on where I was hit by a car. So yeah, not very nice, but never mind. Same for this jacket, to be honest with you. This jacket's filthy because I was lying in the road in it. So unfortunately it got a bit mucky, but this jacket is really great. It's a Gore-Tex jacket. It folds up and scrunches up nice and small, so I can fit it in my back pocket of my jersey when I'm out cycling for fun or on my way to work. And you never know when the rain's going to come and you're going to need an extra bit of protection, or if it gets nippy and you need something to keep you warm. But also this is great if you end up in an accident and you keep yourself warm while you wait for an ambulance at the side of the road. Or maybe someone else at the side of the road needs your medical assistance, and you can cover them with it while you give them first aid, or you can use it to rest their head on if they're lying down on the hard floor on the side of the road. So, you know, it's always a good thing to carry, and I actually carry this with me all the time, even when I'm just out for fun. I scrunch it up, stick it in my back pocket, and it's come in very useful. Also find these things in winter are kind of useful for commuting. Keep my ears warm. It's a little ear warmer, just a cheap little thing that's designed for people who ski. But this one I found is really nice because it fits under my helmet quite nicely, and it's just a bit of like fleece-like material. Keep my ears warm. So why not consider one of those if you're commuting in a cold country or in winter. Also, cycling glasses. So I've got a set of Oakleys here that I bought in France, donkeys years ago, and I'll tell you how long ago I bought these. It was still the French franc when I bought those, so that shows you how old those are. And they're not specifically cycling glasses, I just thought they were cool at the time, so I bought them and now I use them for cycling. So we'll get rid of those because they were expensive. And we'll look at these. Now, people spend ridiculous amounts of money on Oakleys and various other fancy cycling glasses. These ones that you're looking at here were £10, probably less than that actually. I think they were about £8.99, something like that. And they're shatterproof, they're anti-fog, they've got UV protection on them, they're ultra lightweight and robust, and as I say, they were dirt cheap, and I bought them off the Screwfix catalogue. So don't bother wasting your money buying expensive cycling eye protection. You can get just as good stuff at the Screwfix catalogue for like 10% of the price, and you can also get ones that are like sunglasses as well. So they're not just clear ones, you can get ones shaded and all sorts of stuff. So why not consider that next time you need some cycling glasses. I would also consider taking some money with you. Money is going to be useful to you. Never know when you're going to get stranded, when you're going to need a taxi or a bus home, or whether you're going to need some parts for your bike, or maybe even some food. Talking about food, trusty banana. No cyclist should be without their trusty banana. Yeah, so again, if you're feeling low on energy, or your ride ends up taking you longer than expected, or you get stranded, always a good idea to be carrying some kind of food. Obviously, the favourite food of a cyclist is bananas, and that is because we are closely related to the missing link. So, you know, it's our ape-like genetics coming out in us. Yes, so there you go. Always carry some food with you. Depending on what I'm doing, I also may consider carrying these little cleat protectors that just snap over the bottom of my cycling shoes and prevent me from damaging people's floors with my hard plastic cleats on the bottom of my shoes, or prevent me from damaging my cleats as well on the hard tarmac when I'm wandering about. So if I'm just nipping in and out of places, running errands, then I find these things are quite useful. So why not consider one of those, or a pair of those. Also in winter you might get chapped lips, so I tend to carry one of these in my cycling bag just to prevent those nasty chapped lips. And also a bottle of water. Now it stands to reason most people probably carry water on their bikes when they're riding their bikes, but you might think it's not necessary, or you might think that your commute isn't long enough to need a drink. But it's always a good idea to carry some water, and I'll tell you why. Because if you have an accident side of the road and you get gravel rash, it's great for cleaning out your wounds, and it's, you know, you never know when you're going to be choking or have a dry throat or something. So yeah, why not carry some water with you? What's the worst that can happen? So there are all the basic items that I would definitely consider carrying with me. Now there are a few other items that you might want to consider, or I feel like are kind of necessary nowadays as a cyclist. First one, I have this massive fear of giant squid. So I often carry a diver's knife in my bag, just in case I do fall off Trent Bridge in Nottingham and end up in the river and get attacked by a giant squid. They have eyes the size of dinner plates. I mean, they are massive creatures. Probably don't stand much of a chance against it, but you never know when you're going to need a good diver's knife. So yeah, why not consider one of those? Depending on the time of year and where you live, perhaps you live in Transylvania or it's coming close towards Halloween, I would consider one of these. This is a mallet and a stake. Quite a long one actually. This stake was hewn out of a piece of the true cross, so it should be, you know, more holy and more effective against vampires. So yeah, if you do live in Transylvania or it's getting close to Halloween, I think every cyclist should really consider one of these. Perhaps a gun with the silver bullet in it for werewolves as well, you never know. So that's another item that I often carry with me. I have noticed over the years that my bag's been getting quite heavy. Can't understand why that is. If you live in America, you might want to consider carrying a Colt 45 or something with you, just in case you get into a minor dispute with another road user, and you know, logic and talking and all that kind of thing don't work out. You can always, you know, draw your guns and shoot each other. So yeah, it might be useful. I try not to carry one of these with me, mostly because of UK laws. But yeah, it's another item you might want to consider. It doesn't have to be a 45. It could be a machine gun or RPG or something like that. But whatever, you know, something that could come in useful. Tools are always helpful. This is a nail bar that I sometimes put in my cycling shorts. I can't really think why I carry this, to be honest with you. Maybe if I came across the Ark of the Covenant, you know, like in the Indiana Jones movie that's sealed in a wooden box. This might be useful for like opening the wooden box up. I might reconsider this item actually, because it is quite heavy and I do get funny looks when I carry that. So yeah, this particular nail bar is called Hazel. Hello Hazel. Put her over there. That's really about it, to be honest with you. So I hope this was useful to you, and that you will consider these extra items, because you never know when they're going to come in useful, and it's always best to be prepared. So thanks for watching, and as always, try and stay safe. Thanks folks. Bye.